So let this serve as a basic impromptu session. It's from drinking. There's a person that I cannot be around without drinking. Even though I didn't drink for... Did I drink at all last year? I think when that person visited a couple of times, that's when I drank. And that was it. It was like 8 months. At least 6 months goes by where I don't drink. So, you know, toxicity, very tough to be around people. I'm having just an impromptu sort of chat about for the next 10 minutes while I charge, and it is a lifestyle, like you are constantly charging. This is my first month. This is my first month doing this. Actually, to be quite blunt about it, it's been 6 weeks. 6 weeks of this lifestyle. And it is a lifestyle. Like, do not fool yourself that, particularly with regards to renting out or purchasing, because they have these things selling it through Hertz for like 28 grand. So that opens up the gamut for a wide variety of different people. Just because you have a good credit score doesn't mean you're a good person. Doesn't mean you are actually a together sort of person. And having available resources doesn't mean that either. In fact, it's pretty sad to watch people toil and work their whole lives and then realize that they did it for nothing. And they have these ungrateful kids that are not going to go out with the greatest qualia. You know, their sensory experience, who they are, what they are in the moment at the time, the quality of living. You could call it the breakdown Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but there's a whole different paradigm that's set in, and that's, you could say that this goes under qualia, but it's a pervading truth about the self, around the self, surrounded by the self. I think that the way to look at it is if you were your own guardian angel and you witnessed the demise of a moral, inept individual that was actually persecuted throughout lifetimes, and you were keeping them on life support and reminding them, this is what you do, this is what you do, and as soon as your back is turned, they revert right back until the only thing left is the guardian angel. The guardian angel keeping the qualia of an individual that no longer even really exists on life support. Simply by leaving, the angel is set free, but may not even have a reason for living. Right? Might get a little bit into the Hindu folklore. I'll call it folklore, with many gods, just about as many gods as there are people, right? That you can choose your muse. Hey Siri, what is qualia?
Aurelia is both a surname and
Hey
a
Siri,
given name.
what is qualia?
In philosophy of mind, qualia are defined as instances of subjective, conscious experience. Do you want me to keep reading?
Yes.
The term qualia derives from the Latin neuter plural form of the Latin adjective qualis, meaning of what sort or of what kind in relation to a specific instance, such as what it is like to taste a specific apple, this particular apple now. Examples of qualia include the perceived sensation of pain of a headache, the taste of wine, and the redness of an evening sky.
So you can see how changing physics is going to alter that state of qualia, right? That if you take a relative position of your experience and your sense experience, and you change the physics around you. So I made the point many years ago, and I'm doing it again. I mean, there was a study, Kurt Jamungo was talking about this on his channel, God, what was his name, but with xenon gas solutions and things like this. Like, I believe that anti-aging, if scientists really stopped and thought about it, they'd realize that all they have to do is modify the gas solution that a person lives in. And I saw this many years ago, like over a decade ago. I saw these people in my mind envisioned living in what could only be called vapors. This is way before even vaping was a thing. And in order to just keep anti-aging going and to keep their youth, they had to live within an environment where they were basically trapped within the confines of their own bubble. And when they were home, they were trapped within the confines of their own luxury apartment or house, you know. And when you're going somewhere, you have to make sure that you're breathing in this gas solution. And everybody outside of you can act like and play superior. You look at everybody outside of you as this rapidly aging, right? And that's already setting in place psychologically with wealthy people, because they do have access to that. I'm not talking about Brian Armstrong. I don't think Brian Armstrong looks any better than any 40-something-year-old guy who is getting Botox, right? Who is working out all day, who's being overprivileged, right? And I don't think he's met the answer, and I think that people agree with me synonymously that he has not even brushed up against the anti-aging or fountain of youth answer. It's a very obvious one, and it has to do with, well, like muscle nitrogen, right? And the fact that the exposure to oxygen and oxidation isn't a good thing. It's just causing you to rapidly age. So there has to be a miscommunication of sorts where metabolism is not like cortisol and the reactive metabolism and, you know, putting on adipose tissue, those types of things have to be completely arrested. Like, the body has to reach this place where it is 100% stress-free, right? And then the gas solution has to be altered in such a way that the actual qualia of the human organism has to experience a sort of stress-free existence. And a transformation will occur, because the things that we assume as ourselves, and particularly the pleasure-pain principle, the release from pain into pleasure, you will no longer experience pleasure. Everything will become very banal, and people will become very, very banal. And that's a fact. That is a fact. Because when I kind of realized what was being said about the postulation of sort of structuralized time, right? If you were to look at an orb spider spinning their web in her web, and you look at the structure, right? It's really an algorithm, a time sequence. And space just happens to be set aside for that particular time organization to occur as a venture of sorts. And then you have a community, and then you have, so we're going to be cutting this out. Somebody called this soy water, and you're right, it is soy water. It's nothing but bullshit. I am not going to cut out coffee right away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy, as I said, for the last 6 weeks, things that I've been planning and putting on the back burner. And the reason that I haven't is because Hertz has been acquisitioning my money. They just released close to $650 that they had been holding on to illegally for the past 30 days. And that was actually Uber Pro Card. So you got Uber working in tandem with Hertz to strip away the proletariats, the plebeians' right to work, in taking away their assets that allow them free enterprise to be able to rent a car out. So they're double charging people, but then they're returning it, and then they make it disappear as if they did nothing at all. Whereas I didn't have access for an entire month to $650. I don't even know how much I have anymore, like, because there's 4 other charges on there, and it really taps into and destroys your work ethic. Because what do you work for, right? You're like, okay, I'm 500 up. I'm gonna push out a little bit more. I'm gonna, do another day or do a big day, and it's like, then all of a sudden they come in and take $800 to $1,200 from your account. How would you feel if you knew that you had a couple $1,000s saved, and all of a sudden they just wiped it out and now you're minus? Well, that's what Hertz and Uber does to people. And it's a psychological mind game. They know everything they're doing from every side, every angle. Are you kidding me? And it's like, oh, that's a psyop. And it's like, no. You begin with the fact that everything's a psyop. That there's nothing that isn't a psyop. Including when you look down at your hands and you see even the quality of your life. Everything is a psyop. And even the psyop is a psyop. For instance, the qualia of your life, the quanta, the quality, the experience, the individuality, the thing that sets you apart, the telomere vibration into your DNA, right? The very combinant mimetic sequencing of both chiral positioning and antithetical mirroring and copying, right, off of your environment, and then whatever's left, that's how we will assimilate the individual that no longer correlates to this reality, right? So it looks like we're coming up on a full charge. We're gonna say this is a video, whether or not it was, but if you wonder why and what and if qualia is important, it's highly important, because it is your human experience. And more so, it even works beyond human experience, because if this experience in the human body, in the avatar, is something that is subjecting you to a physics that a so-called spirit or soul does not, may not be able to transcend, there's like this byline of, you don't exist anymore because the physics don't allow you to exist. And therefore, whatever, it's like a monetary asset. Therefore, whatever you think you signed up for, now that you are going back into and you have re-realized yourself in a solution that both nurtures you and keeps you alive and arrests time as you know it forever, now that you're going back, there's nothing left. And that seems to be a general sentiment of manipulation with these time sequence. And so when it's postulated that the only thing that we can do is to look at spirituality or whatnot as a primary course of existence of said aliens, or a more quasi or spiritual type life form or existence, what we're really talking about is is a mainframe construct regulating and asserting control over an energy system that could best be looked at as evil rerouting purity. Like, the pure aspect of who you are, what you are, is being acquisitioned and being rerouted by an impure mechanical life form, if you will.